doing this stuff with you guys after the games is that you're here all the time, so you've seen us throughout the year, and so you can relate to when I say I'm proud of Sam, I'm proud of the group, the way they seem to continue to stick with it and come in and fight. And, we were really concerned about this team coming in, about their ability to rebound, and we only gave up 7 offensive rebounds in the game, 3 in the first half, and then for us to get 17 of those, Sam created 3 offensive rebounding opportunities just off free throws. When you're rebounding on free throw situations, you're really working hard, and so really proud of him and FA and all of these guys, and I'm just going to say this because I know he's going to see it. Zurich missing 7 free throws is such a mental thing for him, and I was busting his chops after the game because I actually was going to leave him in the game late with the hope that he would get another chance, but we're not going to let it become a mental thing for him. And we talked about it in front of the team, and it's kind of like this elephant in there, you know what I mean? So he had 10 assists in the game, and just really, really proud of all of these guys. And, I think we're getting better right now, and I like that.
Zurich's assists were career high, and he had his first career double-double, and I know you mentioned he's frustrated with free throws, but where have you seen the most development or growth in Zurich beyond just being a scorer since you've started working with him?
Poise. We earlier in the year, I put a thing up on the board, the definition of emotional intelligence, and then I texted to all of those guys, and I want them to understand it so that when we develop it, they'll know what they're doing. That poise, that's what that is. And you could see in real time the game's starting to slow down for him, and less situations where he's overly emotional and allowing that to affect the decisions he makes on the court. And so I think that's where his biggest growth has been, and as long as he's not walking up to the free throw line, he's a cool customer. So once we get that fixed, then he's going to be a real problem.
You talked about rebounds. To be plus 13, to score 20 second chance points off offensive rebounds. How much does that just change the dynamic of a game when you're getting that many more shots, especially when you're shooting the ball as well as you were tonight, and not giving up those opportunities to that?
Yeah, and 19 turnovers that we forced as well. The problem was we gave it back to them 14 times ourselves, but the fact that we plus 10 on offensive rebounds, plus on the assisted turnover deal, and we assisted on 18 field goals. That's a great number. So we hit a lot of marks, and you had guys that asked us as we were going through the year, like, how do you get tougher? There isn't one thing that you do on a given day or a given week. It's a byproduct of the way you do things over time, and I think this is a team that's been playing well and playing really hard, and so we needed a level of toughness, and we exhibited some of that. We still got a ways to go, but Sam and FA spearheaded that.
You mentioned after the Houston game that although it was closer than the first meeting, you thought maybe your team had left a little out in terms of, I don't know, the effort of the fight. What did you think of it today, and how did you, it sort of piggybacks off of what you just said, but how did you draw that effort out today?
Well, if you think about the Houston game, we had 11 turnovers versus the enormous amount of live ball turnovers and critical turnovers we had the first game. And in that game, we gave up 21 offensive rebounds versus I think maybe they had 11 or so offensive rebounds. It wasn't the dominant. And so we gave ourselves a chance in that regard, but we didn't make enough plays, make enough shots to kind of put some game pressure there. Tonight we made some shots. We scored 88 points. We did a good job keeping them off the glass. We had our share of turnovers, but we forced a number of them. But in between that, we made the ball go in the basket, and we made some plays, and we assisted 18 times. But you can't assist if the ball doesn't go in. So you got to, skill-wise, you got to be able to make some plays.
Does reaching the 10-win mark mean anything
No.
for you for this group, or is it just about that
No,
progression?
listen, it's never been about a number, it's about the group, right? I think somewhere along the line, it was pretty obvious that we're not gonna get an at-large bid, right? We're in a league that I don't know if we're a multi-bid league right now. I don't know how that's gonna play out. Houston is definitely gonna be up there on the 1 or 2 line. And, you know, Memphis will have a chance maybe. I don't know, I don't follow like Joe Lenardi anymore, now that I'm a head coach. I used to be all over that stuff, but I don't know. But if we had 17 or 18, like we're still not getting an at-large bid, right? So it's more about how much better can we get each day and how much better can we play each game. And just worrying about that and nothing else. And if whatever that number turns out to be, then so be it, but we still got to keep moving the needle.
2 of your guys off the bench, Keon and Ricardo, had at least 10 minutes. But other than that, you leaned very heavily on your first 5 starters. Are you intentionally leaning more on them as the season
No.
winds down and you prepare for postseason?
No, I'm just searching for contributions, and I did lean on them, but I wasn't intentional about that. As far as the reserves go, I'm searching game to game. Who's going to give us something? And the more they give us, the more they play them. I should have put Ricardo in the first half. I thought about doing that. Emery went in there early because he generally, from a scouting standpoint, knows exactly what the plan is and does his job. He's not as offensive-minded or oriented in the way that Steph or Ricardo is. So there's a little bit of a trade-off there. And I said at halftime to Ricardo, I'm going to give you a chance, so you need to make sure you're ready, and he was.
How big when you're talking about growth and you're talking about progression of a team, to say, okay, this was a close loss that maybe we let get away there, to come in here and win by 16. Now your next one's going to be a close win here, going on the road. Do you look at those when you've got these, return game matchups to kind of judge some of that growth and progress of this group?
You certainly examine what happened in the game, what you did well, and you try to anticipate what the adjustments will be for them, and we have to make our share of those as we go into the game. And depending on how long ago you played an opponent, a lot of things can change between now and then. They might have an injury, they might have a guy back from an injury, they might be running some different concepts. You just have to, but we all know that one game doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the outcome of the next one, right? So it was a close game. If we play East Carolina again, it's going to be a different game, and so that is generally the case, except for Wichita State, I guess. But in general, you're gonna examine all of those factors, but the games don't generally play out exactly the way the first time.
Samuel and Effie combined for 38 points, but more than that, 17 for 20 shooting between the 2 of them. If you get that kind of efficiency, do you feel like you can compete with almost anyone?
Yeah, I mean, these guys are good players. Like there was a time. I'll say this because this is being recorded, right? We were playing. It was after a game, and Sam said to me in a really honest, vulnerable moment that it was his fault we were losing these games. He meant that. And I said, no, it don't work like that, man. You don't get to do that. I get to do that. You don't get to do that. And he says, but coach, I can do so much more. And if I play the way I'm capable of playing, it would help the team so much. And I'm holding the team back. That's what he was going through emotionally at a time during the year. And to see him stay with it and make the growth that he's made as a communicator and as a teammate, and now the production on the court, is back to your question. 10 wins, 12 wins, 20 wins. I'm more proud of that stuff than I am about anything else, because that growth is so critical to what we do and the direction we want to take things. And he's a big part of that. And so, again, couldn't be more proud.
we talk about his points, but he also had 4 steals and he helped hold Brandon Johnson, who I think had 27 in the first meeting, to 9 points. How underrated is Sam on the defensive end?
I don't know if he's underrated. He did some dumb shit out there now. So I'm not going to give him that right now. If you're asking me how capable he is, he can do it at an NBA level. He's a seriously talented defensive guy. And when he's locked in, he's terrific. Same thing with Zurich. Zurich, Jalen, and Sam are talented defensive athletes, but they haven't fully bought into that aspect of the game in such a way that they stand out the way you're asking now. You're asking that question because of the job he did tonight. But he had some lapses now that stand out, and the reality is he can be terrific at it. And we got 3 guys that can be defensive difference makers, and they haven't always bought into that.